Hello and welcome back for our final segment of this edition of Beyond the Politics, a regular examination of the events happening right here in the Quinte region and the people who work so hard behind the scenes to make it all happen. Special Political Provincial Analysis Edition. I'm your host, Paul Martin. Joining me, as always, my co-host, very tolerant of my eccentricities, columnist for the Belleville Intelligencer, Colin Mackay.
Thank you very much.
And our special guest, host of the Lorne Brooker Show on CJBQ, Lorne Brooker.
Thank you.
Now we want to hear about you. So before we have all kinds of issues we still have to talk about, but tell us a little about yourself and about the show.
Well, I have been at Quinte Broadcasting since 1991, and I've been doing this talk show now since 2006. Longest running talk show in Canada, it really is, well before me. I have been honored to interview and talk to thousands of people, most of the prime ministers and premiers, and I got to interview Kevin Costner, for example, and things like that. So lots of fun. Never thought I'd be able to do it. When I was a kid, I loved talk radio. Obviously, I work for Quinte Broadcasting in the Morton family, and we have two radio companies, major radio companies here, and they're both family owned, and it's a unique place. Belleville radio is an amazing thing. I'm so happy to be in it, and it's just a cool gig. It's a cool job to do every day, and it's a great way to get your angst out. It's a great way to talk to people, and
So in other words, to get away, you have to go away.
You have to go away, because everything is a bit in talk radio, right? Everybody you meet, I'll talk about this tomorrow on my show, and so you have to get away. Because everything is online and there's internet everywhere, it's now almost impossible, but usually staycations I just can't do. Plus I'm a huge traveler, so I love to travel.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I have been a guest, I should say, on the round table.
Well, I was going to book you.
I recommend it for Colin.
Well, I was going to book you again, but now Colin's coming in.
So there are a couple of things we want to do, and we're going to get to predictions, but there's one thing I wanted to talk about, which was recently they announced the Belleville East Arterial Route, and of course there's the expansion of the highway through here that the Tories have put on their master transportation plan, and none of the other parties have said they would remove it. So are you fully confident that no matter who gets in, that's going forward?
Well, I'm fully confident that it'll go forward when I see a truck and concrete start to make it happen. It needs to come in. It will be great for our community. We need that expansion of the 401 through Kingston, really all the way to the 416.
And the new exchange too.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff needs to happen. It's growth of our community. We are not a small town. We are a small to medium city now, and we have to have that kind of thing. Plus, it's really hard on the other roads, all the 18-wheelers coming out of the industrial park. So to protect our other infrastructure, we need this infrastructure. If the province has said yes, and and let's remember, the ministries are all bureaucrats, right? They have a boss, depending on the party, but they have a plan. And I think a lot of times, the people who are just down from the ministers are like, no, this is what we need to do because the province needs to move forward, right?
I think I'm a little bit more optimistic because I've seen the development in Cobourg where they went to 3 lanes out quite a ways, almost not quite to Grafton, but they're getting there. And then they also did the Brighton. They needed 2 new intersections there. Yeah. And then in Kingston, they've been working away. They've got 2 or 3, and it's 3 lanes pretty much all the way through.
Well, Colin,
Kingston
I'm not going to say I'm not optimistic. I think it will
fair
happen.
Enough.
I don't think
it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen until 2023.
Well, it's going to 10 years, right? And they're going to start expanding in town. So Belleville will go to 3 lanes, Quinte West will go to 3 lanes, Brighton will go to 3 lanes.
But I think everybody wants it. The municipal politicians.
They need to have it. You've been stuck behind a 18.
I've been on 401 gazillions of times.
Like you're going 118 and now you're going 102. It's very frustrating.
It is. I'm going to split the difference. When you're talking about widening the highway, I'm 100% for the parties that it will happen. When it comes to the Bear extension, I follow you. Show me the shovel. For the very first day, they are making the actual construction on that because that is a massive project that is on the books now, but 2 years ago it wasn't. So I'll believe it when it actually begins.
It all depends if there's a small turtle that's going to make it not happen. Okay. Oh no, that's something else.
Sure. We got about 3 minutes left. So in that period of time now, let's talk about predictions. Yay, it's the fun part. What do you expect to see next week when the actual election happens?
Well, quite honestly, I think it's going to be a conservative majority. I think possibly even the Conservatives may pick up a few seats. I think.
So they started with 76. So
Yeah, I think 99. No, I'm just kidding. I think
Whoa.
they might.
there's 124 seats.
You heard it here first.
No, I think it'll be. They might pick up seats, but they might lose a few seats too. It all depends how the last week goes, and it all depends what the turnout is. The turnout of the
Yes,
GTA.
That's huge.
Like, are people in the GTA paying attention? Because that's where the Liberals are going to win. And then I think the big story after this, because I think we're going to have another Conservative, I think majority government, but I certainly a Conservative, Doug Ford will be the Premier. What happens to the other two?
Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but first, Colin, your prediction. What happens next week?
I'm going to predict a Conservative minority. I think it'll be close. I think perhaps it'll be around 69. They need, or not 69, 59. They need 63 for a majority. I think it's going to be, I think Ford's support is slipping ever so slightly. I do think Todd Smith will get reelected in this. I think Emily Lenevue will probably come closer than you think, especially if she gets the young people out to vote, which is going to be important to both your points. If the younger people get out and vote, and let's say we have 60% or higher, then I think that favors the Liberals, the NDP, and not as Doug Ford as much, because people that like Doug Ford will get out and vote.
I think it's also going to be a Conservative majority, and anything can happen. Before we get to the last part, which is the second part of the question, thank you to all the people who are running in all of the ridings across. It is a difficult, as I well know, it is difficult to put your name out there and be accepted or rejected, supported or not. So to everyone who's running local ridings, including, of course, Todd Smith, Emily Lenevue, Alison Kelly, and, of course, Erica Charlton for the Green Party and the Bay of Quinte riding, thank you for putting your name out there. So let's now, we've all said Conservatives win, or that's the prediction at different levels. After that, what do you think happens? Who will the opposition be, and is there a change in leadership for either the Liberals or the NDP?
Before to that, if it is a Conservative minority, it's a disaster for Ontario in the short term, because the NDP and the Liberals will never support Doug Ford, and we'll be back to an election again.
Good follow. Now, what do you think, if it is a majority, which was your prediction, what happens for the other leaders? You got about 10 seconds.
I think Del Duca remains for a while. Horwath is toast. Like rye toast. Not even white toast, rye. Buttered rye toast.
That's a thick grain toast.
Anyways, I agree with Lorne Horwath. This will be probably her last election if she doesn't do well, and I don't see her doing well. I can see Del Duca squeaking into second place. So,
Especially if they become the opposition.
right.
I think it'll be a split between the two of them. I think the only one who is likely to leave is Del Duca if they fall well flat and finish in third place. Other than that, I think Horwath finds a way to hold on, but we'll find that out when the time comes. You've been watching this special political edition of Beyond the Politics.